The Aldis podcast is brought to you by Aldis International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Jon Gustafson. Jon is the Director of AI at Woolpert. Jon, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, JP. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, we're delighted to have you. So, Jon, let's start with yourself, please, as we do with all of our guests. Would you give us an overview of your background in technology and your journey from where you got started, some of the roles you've held along the way, and what's led you to where you are today as the Director of AI at Woolpert?
It's been quite an interesting ride. I started early on in my career dealing with data, with technology, mostly in support of our civil engineers, architects, other built environment kind of professionals. And since those early days, collecting data, processing data, it's just always had a passion for figuring out how to apply data to solve some of our challenges and problems within the built environment to get those projects built faster and start bringing value. Growing in my career, I've taken different tracks, more on the policy side. I worked for the federal government for a period of time, in private sector, working for small, medium, large businesses, multinational businesses, and really trying to find a way for data and innovation and technology and how that fits in those types of companies and markets. So some of the roles that I've held pretty much in management tiers and since in private practice, served as technology managers, a senior principal at a multinational organization, and also served as a management consulting actually for a similar company where I advised our clients on the effective use of technology for their program and project delivery initiatives. So being on the advisory side and being the operational side, I have a good mix of experience that could help me be successful in my current role, where I lead a center of excellence dedicated to enabling machine learning capability throughout the organization, as well as enriching our digital solutions.
Thank you so much for the background, and yeah, we'll probably jump into how your background has played a role in helping you shape where you are today in a bit more detail when we talk about your function at Woolpert. But before we get into that, let's take a step back. Tell us all about Woolpert as a business, who you are, what you do, mission of the organization, and then we'll talk about your role as the Director of AI.
Well, Woolpert is a global company with about 2,000 staff, predominantly in the United States, but we also have a presence in South Africa, Australia, Middle East, and Europe. Our vision is to become a premier architecture, civil engineering, and geospatial firm across the world. And throughout the recent history, we've grown through acquisition, but also organically as well. In our sectors, our business units are organized by sectors, and those are our client-facing teams. And we have a buildings group, an infrastructure group, and a geospatial group, as well as a strategic consulting group. And through those sectors, we deliver really multidiscipline services, but also some digital solutions as well. I think what's unique about Woolpert is our ability to look deeply into our business and client requirements to identify opportunities for innovation, but also opportunities to more effectively leverage data and technology to deliver meaningful outcomes.
You've given the platform for us to go into a few different conversation topics, setting the stage for what Woolpert does as a business. But I want to go a little deeper into your role as the Director of AI, because you, having been on the customer-facing side, but also on the internal side, you're able to be the conduit between what customers are needing and then what's required on the execution side. Can you talk to us about what your role entails day to day, what the primary responsibilities are? And then we can go into maybe one or two recent customer examples of how you're helping organizations utilize AI, in particular, maybe an example of the impact that geospatial can.
Yeah, absolutely. My role, as I mentioned at the outset, is to lead a center of excellence for our company. So we are an enterprise support function for the business, an internal consultancy, if you will. And we're taking a federated approach to how we're building capability, AI capability for our business. And by that, I mean, we are centralizing on my team. We have a core team of staff that spearhead or that owns Woolpert's AI strategy, curates our AI solution pipeline, manages the AI ops kind of life cycle, and also provides a hub of knowledge and technology share and collaboration for our embedded AI teams within the sectors, within the client-facing teams. So having that decentralized approach to delivering value, AI value to our end customers is how we're looking at structuring our team. So day to day, it's my role as the director is to create an environment that spurs innovation and creativity around AI solution development and building capability for the rest of our teams.
Excellent. Thank you. So look, one of the capabilities which you already talked about is the use of geospatial. So I'd love to, if you can, maybe share a recent project where a customer was able to utilize with your support some geospatial technology and what your team looks like from positions that exist, how they go about interacting with these customers when a project comes in.
One that comes to mind that we worked pretty heavily on over the past year is automating the feature extraction of impervious surface features from aerial imagery. Been a big business line for us. Several customers of ours need the ability to quantify impervious surface areas over different parcels of land to support their stormwater utility building needs. So we identified that problem early on as a key part of our business. So we took it upon ourselves to build a solution around that. Traditionally, it's been very manual heavy. We have GIS analysts that go image by image and manually trace out these impervious features from aerial imagery that our geospatial teams collect. And just given the massive amount of data to sift through and the fatigue from a human eye, we run into some inefficiencies for sure and different quality challenges as well. So we felt it was necessary to step in to help streamline that workflow and help automate that as much as possible. And our approach to AI is we feel like the human will always be in the loop just from a professional standard of care perspective. In our industry, we have professionals that are licensed by the state to protect the public health and welfare. And in order to comply and maintain that throughout our practice, we got to make sure that we have human eyes on any outputs from our AI systems to make sure the predictions are in line with what's being expected. And on my team, and we're very early in our journey as a center of excellence. I joined Woolpert probably about 9 months ago now to lead up the center of excellence. And so the last year has been spent on one of the low hanging fruit, those major problems facing our business, but also building the governance framework around that to make sure that we are building solutions that have specific problems identified and we're not building solutions for any great ideas that don't have a clear business case. And with our customers being internal customers, we're here to support our client-facing teams with any tools or any automation that helps them get further along in what they're trying to achieve.
You are listening to the Aldis Podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.aldis.com.
Obviously, you were brought to Woolpert to help lead this center of excellence function focused on AI. A big part of that would be looking at the project roadmap. I mentioned there, look, first step was tackle the low-hanging fruit, we get the infrastructure right. But now that you look at the roadmap ahead, in particular the next 12 to 18 months, what are some of the projects and tasks that you're most excited to work on with you and your team?
As a director, it's important to take a strategic cast into what the next couple of years look like for the organization and for our function for sure. And oftentimes it's difficult to cast a vision that far out with how fast things are moving in the industry. And one of the reasons why I joined Woolpert is because of how data rich this organization is. Obviously, coupling that with computation power that's available through different cloud platforms, I think that the timing is right for realizing a lot of the value and promise that AI can bring. And it is not it's not a silver bullet. It has advantages, disadvantages, and limitations, just like any other technology. But for our business in particular, I feel like the data available to us can really provide some great value. As you can imagine, in a business such as ours, with being immersed in the built environment, there are challenges, business problems aplenty that could lead us to an AI solution. And one of the cutting edge service lines for our business is LiDAR bathymetry. And LiDAR bathymetry is typically bathymetry has been collected using sonar sensors, but now they're using aerial platforms to basically penetrate the water column with beams of light, essentially. And these discrete points that are a byproduct of that process, there's a lot of challenges given the environment that those sensors are mapping that creates quite a complicated problem that we are actually looking at addressing through AI technology by streamlining the classification of points from that kind of a process. Looking at that kind of a workflow, it's pretty exciting to get into the weeds to figure out where AI could fit. Is it at the edge? Is it at solving a particular step in that workflow? So we frequently get exposed to challenges like that throughout our interactions with our business, and being able to work with the brightest minds across our organization to understand those requirements and hopefully build a solution around that. Pretty exciting.
So Jon, if you could share a bit more detail about that project roadmap, from the low-hanging fruit that you're working on right now to where you see it evolving over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're working on those immediate problems within our business that have been percolating over time. I mentioned the feature extraction from aerial imagery, which is a segmentation problem, and we're using semantic segmentation for that particular problem. Given that's been a big pain point for our production teams, we put a lot of horsepower around that as our inaugural solution. And over the past several years, we have been doing some AI work ad hoc, but formalizing our center of excellence now, we're able to adopt a platform that we're able to build our models and deploy our models within this platform pretty successfully. And we just finished going through that segmentation problem and developing a solution around that and seeing great success there. We have a couple others in our backlog that are of similar type flavors of segmentation tasks. But as we look forward, obviously we want a healthy backlog, and there's no shortage of use cases from our business. And as we in that backlog over time, making sure that our whole business is taken care of, not just one sector or one team, having a good diversity of use cases is going to be important for us. So as we prioritize our different solutions that we're working on, making sure that we have other teams that are either working on segmentation tasks, or maybe they're looking at time series analysis, or maybe some reinforcement learning kind of problems. Certainly NLP is also top of mind, given the popularity of ChatGPT. Now, I think it's generating a lot of excitement across our business and exposing people to some of those AI tools out there or different problems that they could potentially identify, just being aware of some of the excitement and hype around there. But a big part of my role is to manage expectations. But one thing I keep focused on is being very problem oriented in the work that we do, and being outcome focused, and of course, ROI driven, making sure that there is a sound business case to any problem that we're looking to address.
I want to bring it back then to the team, because a lot of what you talked about is utilizing the evolution of AI and cutting edge technology and to meet the evolving demands of your internal team, but also the customers that Woolpert is supporting. And that also means continuously adding to the team, bringing in new skill sets and backgrounds. As the director of the AI group, when you look at the team currently, talk to us about what the culture, the team is like, and looking ahead then to the roadmap, where do you see the opportunity for others to come and join the already talented team that you've assembled?
Yeah, it's a continual challenge for us. I think taking a build versus buy versus partner approach helps us get further along in achieving our meaningful outcomes. Our team is very lean and mean right now. And I mentioned the federated model where we're trying to upskill some of our AI enthusiasts, those interested in AI, or maybe have some AI skills that are not primarily part of their job, but maybe just on the fringes, trying to bring those folks into a community of practice kind of mindset, gives them that opportunity to contribute to some of the work that we do in the center, and vice versa, us support them in their endeavors. If they're building a model and training a model and deploying a solution on their team, we'll be there to support them along the way, making sure that our standards they're complying with our standards that we have in place, and make sure that Woolpert's interests are kept at the forefront for sure. But we also have a big piece of our business that relies on partnerships with outside firms for various reasons. And for us in the center, being a lean and mean team, I think partnerships are going to be critical to be that extension of our center of excellence, to be able to support different problems in our business, different use cases in parallel rather than sequentially, because our business moves very quickly. And to be able to keep pace and have that scalability, we need to make sure we have the capacity to support having an extension of some strategic partnerships. Makes a lot of sense. And as we look down the road, we do have plans in place to scale up my team, and certainly looking for the right kind of talent is hard, especially in our industry, because when we want to staff up an AI team such as mine, we need to have people with some domain expertise that have been in the built environment, that either come from a civil engineering background or a geospatial background, but have pivoted to a data science or an ML engineering kind of role. Those people are hard to find, but an approach I always take with hiring is I want to hire for attitude and character. We can train the technical skills, but getting somebody on board that's excited and that's curious about AI and how it can bring value to the work that we do is first and foremost what I look for.
Jon, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us. Great to learn about your background, but in particular, a look behind the scenes of the work you're doing at Woolpert. Center of Excellence focused on AI can only mean one thing. There's opportunity for you and your team to have an impact, both internally and then externally for your customers. And it was also great to hear about how you use a lean and mean team, but leaning on some strategic. I think that's also important to hear from someone like yourself. So we wish you, the team, and everyone at Woolpert the best of luck in the months and years to come. And we look forward to having you back on the show in the near future.
Great, JP. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Aldous Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.aldous.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.